There we go. We're all set now. Crisis averted. So, anyway, about me. I've been an OSINT for some time. I've competed in numerous CTFs. I've spoken a lot of places. I do training as well. And I wrote a book. So as soon as I'm done here, I just want to forewarn you that I'm not being rude, but I have to get out of here as quickly as possible to get to the book signing. So I'm not being rude, but I will be back if anyone has questions. If you're interested, you can use those links, or No Starch has it at their booth. I've competed in numerous social engineering and OSINT CTFs. I've been on the winning team for the Trace Labs event for the previous 3 DEF CONs and since retired. Thoughts and opinions in this presentation are mine alone. And the info you can find. There's a little Easter egg hidden in this, by the way. I'll see if anybody picks up on it. So some of the things that we can find via OSINT techniques would be PII, business information and relationships. How do you find shell corps? How do you find relationships between a politician and their businesses, and to find biases? How do you do that, right? If we've seen anything since the invasion of Ukraine, the OSINT community has been doing one thing exceptionally well, amongst many others, and they've been doing it for a long time. It's just, it came to the forefront in tracking troop movements. They have been sniping Russia quite easily. So, and it didn't even take the catfishing. So, it's pretty easy for that. But it also leads to biases for proposed bills, because you have people that don't have a technical background making decisions on technical constructs that just do a simple Google search and think they know what they're talking about. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We'll leave it at that. Crypto. You've got that as well. I mean, anybody in here do things like GeoGuessr? Well, that's some OSINT. From open source analytics, you search. Anybody here remember using Lycos, Alta Vista? If you remember using Alta Vista or Lycos, you probably want to be in bed by midnight. You're probably at that age where you need to have a difficult conversation with your doctor, and you probably need to take a couple of Tylenols for your back. But common sources, we see this all the time. It's like, literally all you do is sit and stalk social media. You stay on Facebook all day, and that's all you do. That's all you think I do. But there are other things. You've got videos. When you're talking about video analysis, right, we have things like YouTube DL or YT DLP that we can yank these videos down with. There are other ways as well. But you can analyze those videos further. What is the video telling you at face value? But then what happens when you isolate the audio from the video and you segregate the background noise frequency? I mean, in the US, we use 60 hertz. Other parts of the world also uses 60 hertz, but there's another frequency that's very common in electricity as well, 50 hertz. And in some cases, I've not tested this for people using things like Crisp AI to remove background noise. I don't know if it takes out that background noise, but for someone not using that, that's kind of geolocation. And then if you've got the internet infrastructure, right? In some of the other villages here, DNS is going to be blamed, because on my old laptop, I had a sticker that said 0 days since it was DNS, because it is always DNS's fault, right? But I will tell you that between DNS and things like Shodan, you can enumerate so much infrastructure, so many relationships. There are so many things that could be done with that. Just try out OSINT to discover. The only thing you have to be successful in OSINT is an inquisitive mind. A question I get all the time: what operating system do I need to use? Which one works for you? You like Windows? Cool. Does it have a browser? That's all you need. Oh, you like Linux? You like to do things in Python from the command line, Golang? You like scripting your own stuff? That's a good one too. What tools do you need? Honestly, most of the things that I find via a browser and a search engine, because it's not what you ask, but it's how you ask it. From my background in social engineering, my favorite question to ask people, what was your mom's name before she was married? Do you know how often people actually answer that? It's terrifying. But it's because I disarm them, because it's not what I ask, but it's how I ask it. Because if you hear the word maiden name, you're like, nope, not today, Satan. It's just the truth. The intelligence that you can uncover. Oh, look, there's some oligarchs leaving, and I'm going to say this in jest. I'm not trying to start a geopolitical conflict here, but we can see here in this image, there's oligarchs leaving the eastern Ukraine. You know, supposedly China gets really mad if you call mainland China Western Taiwan. So we can start calling Russia Eastern Ukraine. That might cause Putin to have an aneurysm. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, you can find oligarchs, you can find human race abuses. We're seeing that right now playing out in other parts of the world. We've seen this in the past, even back 15 years ago with Darfur. We've seen it in various places within the world. We see it within the United States at times as well. You can find military operations. I mean, who here uses Strava? Anybody want to go for a run around Nellis Air Force Base with it? I hear the DoD really don't like that. But anyway, you've got that. And you can also find missing people if you're interested in that. Trace Labs is running their event tomorrow. I will be a judge. May the odds be ever in your favor. And you can also use it to have a positive impact in finding legitimate trafficking victims as well. So there's a lot of good uses for it. You can look in the news for confidential reports. I mean, when's the last time that somebody spilled classified beans to the media? I mean, off the record, really? OTR? No, that's a myth. On a submarine, we were equipped with two things. They were the forward and aft escape hatch. They were there as a design so that if you end up on the bottom of the ocean, you could theoretically escape. It was common knowledge to us, and my pal Bird over here can attest to it. Those were there to satisfy the lawmakers and make our mothers be able to sleep at night. They would not be used. That is the equivalent of off-the-record conversations. Nothing is ever off the record. The news will share more than they say, because if it comes to maintaining a relationship with a source, depending on the source oftentimes, I'm not going to use this as a blanket statement for all media and all journalists, but if it's between getting the scoop and losing their job, sorry, you're getting burned. You know? And honestly, the comment sections, that's where the intel comes. Because all you've got to have is a divisive topic with clickbait to trend in social media, and people cannot sit on their hands long enough to not type out some biased response and just spill all of the beans. You can follow a trail of forgotten retorts. Any online forum is good, but if you do the right dorks, you can find things where people have scraped IRC, you can find screenshots, you can find chats. There's so many things you can do. And with the forums, when you get people with that truth serum and they start to feel confident in what they say, you know, because a lot of the problem we have with the internet and social media today, Mike Tyson, the internet philosopher, spelled it out pretty good. A lot of people say what they say on the internet because they don't have the fear of getting punched in the mouth. I mean, he's not wrong. But, you know, it's really what it boils down to. You can crawl the dark web for shady exchanges. I mean, you don't have to go that far for most investigations, but depending on what you're snooping on, you might have a valid reason to do it. So you always have that perspective. You can enlist your skills for insights, right? It's not entirely true for OSINT, but it keeps with the theme. And the theme will be more readily apparent a little bit later. And you should, I was like, who was that? I'm going to be doing that at 2 o'clock today as an exhibition. It's not getting scored, though. But you should totally join the Discord because the reality is a lot of us, I mean, in this entire community, not just the OSINT community, but just the InfoSec, hacker, OSINT investigator community, let's face it, we're socially awkward. We meet someone and they're like, hey, I like to swim. And we're like, yep, we know. Checks with chart. So, we should hold that back, but sometimes we're just a little socially awkward and we don't. Or sometimes the poisoned water will get that truth serum going for us. Websites, forums, and documents too. Don't forget 2chan, 4chan, 8kun. The Google Docs, extension and file type. That one right there, it's pretty fun. Don't forget the Missouri felony. Is anyone in here familiar with what a Missouri felony is? F12. Yes. Has anyone in here pressed F12 on a website before? All right. Where's that Missouri State Police dude that was in here? Get them all. Extradite them now. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened. A journalist F12'd a website. They viewed the source. They found hard-coded social security numbers in it. They tried to disclose it, and the governor of Missouri sent the state police after them, saying that they, and I quote, hacked. If that's all it took. Can anyone find the web interface for the eyeball over there? Because I want to hack it. I don't know what I want to put on it. I think I might put, maybe a Rickroll. Or Bird will probably want to put Thunderstruck on it, but I don't care. Either way, these are things that you can do because it's not always, sometimes you have to refine your question after you've asked your initial question. A lot of times it's like negotiating with toddlers. But it gives the insights that shine through. Sometimes what is there, sometimes it's missing. You look at an image and it's like, why is this thing not in this image? It may have been in that image, but someone may have used something for some help. They might have used some super elite Photoshop or GIMP or maybe even Canva. Inference is a powerful tool. That's why the U.S. intelligence community, they are having a legitimate conversation about standing up an agency for OSINT. But it is very contentious because they want to have all of their meetings in super classified environments. OSINT is not super classified. It can answer some super classified questions. There's no golden ratio for it, but if you do an investigation and only 10% of what you see should be classified due to inference or something, why are you classifying 100% when you could only have the overhead of maintaining 10% of material? But I digress. Pay attention to emails and bank accounts. Email addresses are great. There are things like Holehe, and then you can just take the @ domain off, and now you've got usernames to play with. You can follow the money. That's been a phrase, I'm not going to reveal my age, but I've heard that phrase about as long as I've been alive. The only difference is with crypto, you have these cool little nodes of blockchains that you can go and look at the transactions. And we saw this, Benjamin Strick wrote an article where a jihadist cell was doing a fundraising effort and they had a banner with their Bitcoin address on it. Yeah. I definitely would not hire them for my marketing team or for any OPSEC work either. But the research methods all help mount. As I stated before, it often helps with other disciplines. A lot of the reason I got more involved in OSINT is because I thought I liked social engineering better. And I learned that I could make better contact with people and have better things to say to build rapport to get people to tell me things. I called it the context for the contact, and that's still true. And then you have things like image intelligence, you have signals intelligence. Let's face it, from an OSINT perspective, that is the passive reconnaissance phase of the hacking process. I forget which cert vendor said it. It doesn't matter. Unless you need CPs, and then I'll say that it was somebody, whatever you need. But honestly, when you think about technical exploitation and hacking, oftentimes that falls under what we would consider signals intelligence. So that is another example of it enabling other disciplines. Sometimes you might start open source and go closed source. Sometimes you might start closed and you use open source to answer the questions. That's what it boils down to. Go to databases and sites galore. Show of hands, who in here is a data hoarder? You get every data breach on the planet, you store it, somebody hops in Discord and says, hey, anybody got this? Yeah, I got you, boo. They are our friends, but we have to respect those hoarders too, because they are doing God's work. I don't have enough storage to store all those data breaches, and sometimes you need more than an API call from like Dhashed or looking something up on Have I Been Pwned, and they've already got the stuff from the CD website, so you don't have to get your entire OPSEC infrastructure stood up any more enhanced to be able to go get it. So, they act as a good middleman. It's a good business model. Journals and newsletters. I'll tell you, at home, on my router, there are 2 websites that I block universally. Any guesses? Wikipedia and Bellingcat. Productivity. If I find myself on either website, there goes my entire day. It's like, oh, MH17? Whoa! Oh, they got some new articles about East Ukraine? Whoa! Yeah, it's just a total productivity killer for me, so I have to block them. But golden standards of OSINT, you have Bellingcat, you have the Center for Internet Resilience, you have people like Teddy Wilson and Radical Reports, you have the Overt Operator Group, and that's just a few. There are several others. From deep web sources and public records, Pacer, Court Listener, Judy Records, Open Corporates, Open States, Little Sis. You've got all kinds of things there. And with the deep web, it's like, okay, yeah, it's there. Whatever. Let's go with it. But you've got all sorts of solid things out there. You've got these public records because, there are 3 things that are guaranteed in life. You've probably heard a variation of this. The 2 things guaranteed, you're going to pay taxes and die, right? If you're a U.S. citizen, yeah, you're going to be on some data broker websites too. And the last time I opted out of a bunch, I was like, I don't remember solving all these CAPTCHAs for them to put my data on this. Why am I having to solve all these CAPTCHAs to get it off? But, that's the world we live in. What a wealth of data you'll acquire. As I stated before, it's not what you ask, but it's how you ask the questions. That's why when you see lawyers cross-examining people or interrogators trying to get data out of people, they will structure the same question about 9 different ways to be able to phrase it differently to try to get someone to fumble up. You're doing the same thing to your internet queries. So in that regard, sometimes you have to ask the same question multiple times in multiple ways, but when you do it, you're slicing so many different ways that you get alternative perspectives and you can cross-corroborate that data. You get new aspects, patterns, and trends that arise. Did you know that you cannot spell the word alien without AI? Did you know that if you take the letters AI out of alien and you read the letters aloud, it still spells alien? L-E-N? I was driving when I thought of that. I almost ran off the road. If my car didn't have lane keep assist, I would have been in a ditch somewhere. Or maybe even a body of water, I don't know. You all would have been looking for me in the Trace Labs event. You've got ChatGPT, new data sources. The data sources come and the data sources go. New social medias. For the duration that I've been up here talking, we could have had a brand new social media platform up and everybody in the room could have joined and we could have been huge. We could spew whatever we want. There's no barrier to entry. You have new laws, regulations, and standards. You've got things like CCPA, GDPR. That's why I try to go to Hack in Paris every year. I spend one night in an Airbnb in a residential neighborhood, and I don't use a VPN. Because a lot of websites, if you submit GDPR takedown requests, they don't ask for any proof that you're a citizen of the European Union. They just see a residential IP address in France, and it goes bye-bye. LexisNexis asks for details if anyone was curious. If anybody knows how to forge a European passport, I know a fellow that might want to talk. Anyway, all the sources you seek to find and revise. You're drawing the conclusions. It's the expert analysis. People are paying us to do the analysis for them. They're not paying us to collect a bunch of data and just throw it at them. They want to know, why do I care? Thinking back to the pandemic, why do I need to get out of bed and put pants on to get into this Zoom meeting? That's what it boils down to. But ultimately, all we're doing is applied hypotheses testing. When I've worked with clients, I'm like, I'll try to prove or disprove this. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to prove what you think I'm going to prove, because I don't operate with bias. I understand my own biases and I take actions to try to mitigate that, but I'm going to prove or disprove this, because that's all it is. It's a hypothesis. It's an educated guess. So go and explore through cyberspace. I think I saw that cat earlier going in the flamingo. I'm not sure. The info inside you can find with grace. And this is what it is. So this was ideal to follow a chat GPT present, or an AI presentation. So I've been reading Dr. Seuss lately, typically around 8 p.m. I've read Oh, the Things You Can Think numerous times. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, rewrite Oh, the Things You Can Think, but rewrite it about OSINT. And that's what every single title of every single slide was. It actually spells this out. Oh, the info you can find from open source analytics that you search. Just try out OSINT to discover the intelligence that you can uncover. Look in the news for confidential reports, or follow a trail of forgotten retorts. Crawl dark websites for shady exchanges, or enlist your social skills for insights. Websites, forums, and documents too can give insights that shine through. Pay attention to emails and bank accounts. These research methods all help mount. Go to databases, sites galore, and even journals and newsletters galore. From deep web sources and public records, what a wealth of data you'll acquire. New prospects and patterns and trends that arise, all the sources that you seek to find and revise. So go and explore through cyberspace, the info inside you can find with grace. So, I don't have a doctorate. Wait, there's more. But yeah, that's ultimately what this was. So I literally had it write it. I was like, all right, here are all the titles. And I was like, how do I actually make this insightful? And that's what I did with the slides. So that's ultimately what it was. I will open it up for questions if anyone has any. In the meantime, I've got a little bit of marketing stuff for you. I got some coupon codes and stuff to throw your way. I maintain an on-demand platform. You can access that at academy.theoscension.com. I'm going to be teaching on August 24th and 25th with Anti-Siphon. It's a 2-day OSINT mastery course. There's your link. It is a little bit, I would say a little bit on the pricier side, but that's a 2-day course, and it's with Anti-Siphon, so there's that. Here's a coupon code if you want 40% off all courses from the Ascension. I've got the schedule through the rest of the year. That's on the next slide if you're interested. So that's the schedule. If you use code RECON40, you get 40% off. And for any course that has an on-demand counterpart, you also get on-demand access at no additional charge. Here's links to my videos, streams, all that fun stuff. And there's the link to Discord. There's all my links, but any questions? All right, thank you very much. Enjoy DEF CON and have a good one.